Okay, hey guys, it's PSL here, and I'm here for the first part in the National F1 Championship. And this is a new championship I've come up with, which is meant to be deliberately patriotic. And this is going alongside the driver's title and constructor's title. And naturally, as a patriotic F1 fan, I'm still going to try and get Hamilton to win the driver's title by racing as him for a few races, because I am British myself. But that's kind of the spin on this series. Some races I'm going to be racing as Hamilton, some as Stevens, some as Button, like in this race I'll be racing as Button. And that's basically the aim, is to try and get Brits to win the driver's title and the National F1 Championship. And now I'll go over how the National F1 Championship point system works at the end of the episode when I show you the standings. But that's basically the main gist of the rules, is I can change drivers whenever I want. And another thing I want to clip is how I deleted the day one patch on purpose for this race, so I could get rid of the manners of Stevens and Merry, which one helps out Britain and Spain in the National F1 standings, and two, it's actually more accurate to real life, and I'm all about accurate to real life. But anyway, let's head on to the live commentary qualifying report. Wow, bloody hell, this McLaren does understeer like nothing else. So, I want to get sub 130. I think I've really got enough time for one more lap. That was a corner cut, surely. Well, that's an end to this lap. That was well a waste of time. Just return to garage. As long as I'm comparable to Fernando, that's all I care about. Speaking of which, just behind Fernando. Okay, so I'm not that far off the pace then. Actually, I think he's going to set a time slower than... Oh, yes he is. That's quite a bit slower than us. Hulkenberg wasn't being very sporting to his to his German, not teammate, but to his fellow German, as he was holding up Rosberg. That's quite atrocious, really. I don't know, he doesn't seem rapid. Whoa, someone spun out there. That was the other Force India. Spun out there, but I mean, Perez is already ahead of us, but that should have ruined Hulkenberg's lap. It has. That is another slow lap from Hulkenberg. That is a shocker of a lap. I swear in F1 2014, Hulkenberg was like OP as an AI driver. Now look. But that is also going to help out our cause in the National F1 Championship massively. Ricciardo's disqualified. What? Why is Ricciardo disqualified? I'm so sorry to all you people, all you Australians or anybody supporting Australia. Ricciardo's just got to... Grosjean and Perez are now all disqualified. What's happened? What? What? I don't get this. I'm so confused. What's happened? Grosjean, Sainz, Ricciardo and Perez have all randomly just disqualified. I think Massa spun it in quali. I think he might well have been on a flying lap, but he's binned it now, and that is the end of the session.
Daniel Ricciardo will not be happy with that result. He was expecting to get into the top 10 at the very least, but unfortunately...
Oh, wow. And all of those drivers were on option tyres, actually. Well, Grosjean, Sainz, Ricciardo and Perez. All option runners. Yeah, the only people we beat on true pace were prime runners, unsurprisingly. What incidents were there? Ricciardo was blocking the pit lane. Perez parked in a dangerous location. So did Grosjean, so did Sainz. And they're all disqualified for it. What? We're going to finish last. The only thing we could realistically do is get ahead of Fernando. Oh, Fernando's being pushed into the garage. Okay. Let's just see us fall to the bottom then. Loads of people... So with 6 minutes to go, there's still loads of people who haven't set a lap time. What happened there? 8th? What? Vettel and Bottas didn't set lap times. Was there a reason for that? We'll probably see. No, just my corner cuttings. Okay. What happened? I don't get it. Okay, coming across the start line. What spit am I? What speed am I hitting when I cross the speed trap? About 185. Kvyat, thanks a bunch. Don't take me off. Don't take me off. He's on an outlap and he's just holding it near me. Just back off, mate. And oh, I forgot to turn off What the fuck is he doing? I'm sorry for swearing, but what is he doing? What's the point? He's on an outlap. He tries to make a move up the inside when he's on an outlap and I'm on a flying lap. Just what is the actual point? Much faster lap, 129.6. Okay, let's see. Rosberg, when he crosses the line, what's his speed trap? It's honestly the straight line speed disadvantage between the Honda and the McLaren Honda. Look, 197 when he hits the speed trap. That just shows the sheer power disadvantage I've got. But I'm still third. I'm sorry, what? No, Rosberg was quicker than me. I know he was. Okay, Button's looking happy. Everyone in there's looking happy. Why are we happy though? Fifth. What do you mean Rosberg set a lap time of 2 minutes 29? I'm sorry, what? What do you mean Rosberg on the option set a lap time of 2 minutes 29? There's not even any incidents reported. Right, well, I'm starting 5th. Hamilton 2nd is actually looking pretty decent for the Brits so far in this championship, and not too good for the Germans. The finish, no, Raikkonen's doing well, but Bottas, of course, is way down. Anyway, let's just head on, end the live commentary quali report and go on to the post-commentary race.
I mean, when you look from outside, it looks like a big world, but once you're in, it's a small world basically.
As far as we can judge, that Mercedes is the favorite going into this race, and right behind it's very close.
I think we are in the fight. We are in the fight for, if Mercedes is exactly what they show in the testing, it won't be so easy, to be in front of them.
For us, we don't exactly know what we're going to get. Normally you don't understand other people's packages, but at the moment we don't understand ours fully.
I feel ready enough. I haven't tried the car on high fuel yet, so I hope that I'll get to do that before the race.
It's a clear improvement. How much is difficult always to say against the other teams, but against ourselves is a big difference.
And I think we're actually quite well prepared for what we have. If we're quick, that's a different question, but we're good.
It's a new season and New Year's. We start from zero and see how it goes.
Okay then, so here we are off for the first race of the season in Australia, and after our amazing qualifying result in 5th, we were actually able to retain it amazingly, so we're still 5th out of the 18 runners. I honestly have no idea how we were able to keep that place, because it's undeserved. I mean, to be brutally honest, it is undeserved, but regardless, I'll take it anyway. 5th, and we did get passed by Hulkenberg at the start, and now all the cars are going slowly in front. We passed Kvyat. We're looking to make a move on Massa there, and actually we got the run on him here, but obviously Mercedes engine has got the power on the Honda engine, and he's just powered right past us there. And coming under braking, tapped the back of Massa there, and we so close to him. I didn't realise the McLaren Honda was actually going to be this comparable on pace to the Williams Mercedes, or just the Williams in general, to be honest. So here we are coming on to the end of lap 1 or the start of lap 2. We're still holding 4th position amazingly. I have no idea how we've done that, but Kvyat has passed us. We've repassed him, a slight corner cut to be honest, but he's going to get past us here. Obviously we're going to come down to the second corner and hopefully not cause a crash, unlike in qualifying. You see, that's how you make a move down the inside. I mean, I know that it's just, that qualifying incident just baffled me, to be honest. But anyway, coming on to end of lap 4, start of lap 5. Now we've been passed by Hulkenberg, and he's actually made the move stick, unlike at the start of the race where he got past us and we were able to just lunge it straight past him. And you may notice we've actually lost a lot of time to the leaders in front, so he's in 6th. And as we can see, Hamilton, obviously from the national F1 Championship point of view, has just got into first. Raikkonen obviously qualified on pole, but Hamilton has got into first now, which obviously is brilliant for the British point of view. And obviously, if you're not British, you can support. Obviously, you know, if you're Australian, then, you know, feel free to support Australia and Ricciardo in the comments, or, you know, whatever nationality, be sure to support them in the comments. Anyway, so we're coming down the second DRS straight, still holding our brilliant 7th position. We've been helped the backside. It's Ericsson, we're flying, and what a way to go. Yeah, nice one, engineer, nice. Yeah, my wing's in a bad state. You don't say. Ericsson just, I mean, it was kind of a bit 50-50 that instant. I can't move in front of him, but at the same time, Ericsson really should have just tried harder to avoid that instant. As you can see, we go flying. I'm amazed we didn't roll it, land upside down. Just got Ericsson. What were you doing? And that's, we were in a good position, 6th place. Sure, we were holding up a train, but 6th place in the McLaren Honda was insane. But now we're down in 10th. We've actually passed Vettel because Vettel was going very slowly around there, so we're now in 9th. I have no idea how we're actually holding 9th, because I'm pretty certain not all the cars behind us have got front wing damage, unlike us. As you can see, running wide there, our race is over now, thanks to Ericsson. But as you can see here, we've got a list of the incidents. As you can see, a lot on lap 7 because of it. But the weird thing is it says Alonso and Rosberg have 5-second penalties because of incidents involving that crash. But yet, me and Ericsson, the two ones who kind of caused that crash, got nothing, which is weird. And as you can see, Rosberg's point of view, how did he get a 5-second penalty from this? I will never know. Because here he is, just minding his business. Obviously, really poor qualifying from Rosberg, down in 10th, and he seemed to have lost some more positions since then, but he did nothing. I mean, he reversed a couple of feet, but apart from that, did absolutely nothing wrong. It's weird why Rosberg is really caught up back here anyway, because obviously qualified in 10th. Just madness how he's even involved in crashes like that, and Ericsson causing crashes is nothing that hasn't been seen in the F1 YouTube community before. We've seen Ericsson causing crashes. I can think of Stockman 1998 and his career mode. I can think of Ericsson's caused a few cheeky little incidents in his time. But anyway, 2015, first crash, or the first crash in a race, and Ericsson's caused it. You could argue I was at fault, and I will agree I was kind of at fault for it. But anyway, coming into the pits, this is obviously going to be a long pit stop because they got to change the front wing, and obviously changing tyres will go put onto the Inter. So it's, if there was a lap to crash, this one was probably the best, because as you can see, it was going very wet. I was actually struggling a lot for traction and was losing even more time to the cars in front than before, when it got wetter, because I just really could not handle these wet conditions. And I should say, actually, I'm not running any assist. The only assist I'm running is automatic gears, but obviously traction control's off, and that does mean that these wet, slippery conditions is actually really difficult to manage, to be honest. And now here we are coming into end of lap 8. We are behind a Force India there. I believe that's Perez. I can't really quite tell because of the preview screen. But anyway, we slid past him there. I mean, the lack of traction is just insane. But me and the other cars, Button and the other cars who came in at the same time as us, were actually the first ones on the whole grid to pit onto the Inters. But now by this time, everybody on the grid has pitted onto the intermediate tyres because it's wet enough for it. And as you can see, it's raining harder still, but it's definitely not time for wet conditions yet. But as you can see, we are slipping and sliding all over the place. We're in 14th, which is kind of where the McLaren Honda really should be. Obviously, we know in Australia, I'm sure Button came 11th, but he was last of the finishers, so you know, we're actually doing very well for McLaren Honda. And as you can see, we've got past someone in the pits, tapped the back of Grosjean there, as he was going very slowly at the exit of turn 1. And really, 12th, McLaren Honda is a disappointment from where we were, but if you look at where a McLaren Honda actually should be, it's very, very good for the pace that McLaren Honda actually has. As you can see, tapping that car out of the way. I believe that was our teammate Fernando Alonso there. And the weird thing was, is we had a fair amount of pace when it was dry. Then once it changed over to the inters, we had no pace. But now it is definitely solidly intermediate conditions. We've actually got a lot of pace. So, you know, once it's on that overlap, haven't got a lot of pace. But then once it's definitely intermediate conditions, we actually have got the pace. And we ignore that 3-second penalty we got there for corner cutting, and just glaze over it. But anyway, here's what's more important: is Hamilton is in first, but Kvyat behind in second. But as we can see, Kvyat is looking to make a move on Hamilton, and Kvyat is now leading the race, and obviously that is bad for obviously the British point of view in the National F1 Championship, but for the Russian point of view, that is fantastic. Obviously, Kvyat is the lone Russian on the grid this year, and Kvyat going into first, that's 25 points of Russia. That is fantastic for them. Not too great for us, but we were passed by Grosjean there. We got past him, and then apparently he was an illegal overtake. Harsh. I would say it's just about an illegal overtake, as we were track extending, but to be fair, Grosjean was track extending as well, so a very harsh penalty to give out there. But at the end of the day, he is definitely faster, and obviously the Lotus is a much quicker car than the McLaren, especially with that engine. And really, we were just slipping back by this point. 17 runners left in the race, because Perez retired. I kind of never really found out why he retired, but Perez is out of the race, unfortunately, for any Mexicans watching, or anybody supporting Mexico, or Perez, because I know Perez is quite a loved driver. But anyway, passed by Nasser. Really, we're just slipping down big time. You know, it looked like for a second we had some pace in these intermediate conditions, but we honestly do not have any pace. Now coming up to the tricky left-right chicane, and we're just understeering like mad, definitely cutting the corner and track extending all in one. And really, we had no pace anyway, and we're not even in the points position. So I tried to make what I thought was a bold move, because we're understeering, and I thought that either means it's time for the wet tyres or the dry tyres, or, you know, these inters were wrecked. But I knew for a fact they weren't wrecked, because the engineer told me they were in good condition. So I put it on for the option tyres, because the rain was easing off. Apparently we had an illegal overtake of Vettel there, even though, you know, Vettel was never ahead of us, but whatever, we'll just go over that. We're putting on to the option tyres. We're going to go for 2 option stints, because I think the prime tyres won't quite last 13 laps or 12 laps, or, you know, however many it is. I actually got jumped by Vettel in the pits there. That is quite disappointing, but we're hopefully going to have 2 option stints, which so we're going to be on maximum power right until the end of the race, as long as it stays dry. Whereas some people, I think, pitted onto the prime tyres, and I think they're going to struggle, obviously, to try and make the prime tyres last the full distance. And Vettel go very slowly out there. That was... what was he doing? We got a replay from his perspective. So, leaves the first corner, that's all good. Accelerates, and then just stops for no reason. I mean, what was the point in that? I think he was trying to take me out, you know, that was cheeky German tactics there. We know Rosberg arguably has had some cheeky tactics. We know Schumacher has in the past. I think Vettel has caught that bug now of trying to be a bit cheeky, trying to take out other competitors, which I don't know why, because we had no way rivals to him. The only reason we're rivaling him in the race is because obviously Vettel had that weird qualifying where he didn't set a lap time in Q2, but now Hamilton's day is just, well, he's got back past Kvyat, so he's now leading the race, which is brilliant from our point of view, and he's getting behind Ericsson, and we know something's going to happen here. Is Ericsson going to cause another crash like he did with us? So Hamilton's sure he's going to lap Ericsson, and Ericsson just goes slowly again. What is his purpose in life? Just go slowly. Hamilton loses his front wing, and he's now going to pit. He's going to lose a lot of time to Kvyat, and really that's Hamilton's chance of the race win over. From the Brits' point of view, that is really bad for everyone, to be honest, for Hamilton to just lose his front wing. Obviously it wasn't his fault. I mean, Ericsson, he got involved in our crash, which arguably, you know, was kind of half our fault, half his fault, but that one was definitely his fault. Ericsson should have just sped up and didn't. But anyway, we in the points positions amazingly, because some other people came into the pits a bit later on, but obviously we're going for 2 option stints. There's no way we can make the option tyres last 13 laps, so we got to pit in for the second set of option tyres, and we got to power it out to the end of the race. And we might be sacrificing a point, but at the same time, you know, at the end of the day, a point isn't too big of a deal, you know, and we've got the potential now to just, you know, surge past all the rivals and, you know, all of our rivals, and, you know, maybe reclaim 10th, or, you know, hopefully, I hope we could get past the other rivals, our competitors, because as I said, Prime Tyres trying to stretch them out 13 laps does seem a bit ambitious to us, and they're just going to go off the cliff. I've heard you can get tyre blowouts in this game. That could well have happened, you know, that's my thinking behind it. But lap 26, finally, we've got some beautiful Australian sun in this race. We haven't seen that all race. I mean, we saw it in Q3, but finally we get to see some beautiful Australian sun. That's what I want to see. And hopefully, well, I mean, I can't hope just for Ricciardo's sake that Ricciardo is doing well, you know, in his home race. And we overtook someone there to get into 13th, and now it says we're 15th. That's just a glitch. We are actually in 13th, coming around the last corner. Disappointing race, not scoring a point, but at the end of the day, we finished ahead of Vettel in the Ferrari. I'm sure we qualified like 9 positions ahead, but we're going to finish 13th in the first race of the National F1 Championship with Jenson Button's McLaren Honda. As you can see there, he's getting out the car. He looks not happy. You know, I mean, what can he expect? He knew the McLaren Honda going into this race was not going to be an amazing car. And as you can see, Kimi Räikkönen wins the race with Kvyat second and Lewis Hamilton third, Bottas fourth, and obviously that is brilliant for the finish. And the Russians there, they have done supremely well out of this race, and Nico Rosberg in fifth. You know, the Germans, I thought they were going to do brilliantly, obviously, with Vettel, Rosberg and Hülkenberg. You know, I thought they were going to do well, but Hülkenberg only scoring a point. Vettel finishing behind us because of his weird qualifying, and Rosberg was able to recover from his weird qualifying result to get 5th in the end. And as you can see, drivers' standings are just the same as the race results. And now if you look onto the constructor standings, I was going to check the constructor standings, but I forgot to, so I had to make up the tables myself, but it's fine. Ferrari are ahead, they're joint on points with Mercedes, but Raikkonen's win, and Rosberg, you know, Hamilton getting involved in some incidents, and Rosberg having his shocking qualifying, which wasn't his fault, meant Mercedes in second and are behind purely on a race win count. Red Bull are third, Williams fourth, Toro Rosso way behind in fifth, Force India the last point scorers in sixth, and everyone else hasn't scored points, but obviously Manor did not take part in this race, just as in real life. And now heading on to the nations table, and now basically how this works is that you get the drivers, divide them by their nations, and then do the mean average of points. So obviously Finland at the top with 18.5 points. Obviously that is Bottas's 4th place and Raikkonen's 1st place. So obviously that adds up to be 37 points. Divide that by the number of Finnish drivers there are this season. That's 2, 18.5 points. Kvyat in second, and obviously the only Russian driver on the grid, so he divides his points by 1. And then Great Britain in third, you would divide their points by 3, because obviously there's 3 drivers, Hamilton, Button and Stevens. But because Stevens wasn't running this race, we only divide their points by 2, so that's Hamilton's 3rd place, 15, you divide by 2 to make 7.5. But from the 3rd race onwards, Stevens will be running in, then we'll be dividing Britain's points by 3, obviously for the 3rd driver. And the same applies for Spain and Roberto Merri as well. And now France, Venezuela, Sweden and Mexico, obviously with Grosjean, Maldonado, Ericsson, obviously Ericsson got involved in a lot of incidents this race, and Mexico with Perez, who got disqualified for a reason I don't understand, all getting no points. But anyway, that's the first part of the National F1 Championship. I'll see you next time in Malaysia, where I'll be racing as Lewis Hamilton. Be sure to leave your thoughts on this series. Obviously it's very original in the F1 YouTube community, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on it and what you think of the series so far. So I'll see you guys for the next race in Malaysia with Lewis Hamilton. So I'll see you then.